All right, it is Monday, and it is Monday's update. Monday's update. I have to unplug my phone. We are live. If you notice, my beautiful background has changed. I am at home. My father has had knee surgery, so I am back home in Kansas City to help out. Today we have a special guest, Miss Sarah Howell. We're waiting for her to slide on in here, and we're going to introduce her. I've talked about her in some of my other lives before, and so you're finally going to get to meet her. And that's what's going to happen this week on this live. While we wait for her to get on in here. Oh no. It's live. While we wait for her to get on in here. Oh no. It's live. While we wait for her to get on in here. Oh no. It's live. I keep messing up. Okay, I think I got it right now. Sorry, like an old person with the technology. Okay, that was a little ageist. I'm sorry. I'm like a person who doesn't understand technology. There we go. Haha. Okay, I think I got it. My viewers. Yes. Okay. Almost. So close. Nope. Give me a second, guys. Allow your viewers to request to join your... That's what I thought I did. That is not what I did. So close, yet so far away. Oh, the struggle is real, Stephanie. The struggle is real. Okay, we're gonna get it together. Give me un momento. Let me look at these directions again. Tap at the bottom to invite friends. Okay, I see Sarah. Bam. Once your friends are watching, then tap select a friend. Bam. Your viewers. Bam. Add your friend. Bam. But I see your viewers. But it's not saying add. Why is it not saying add? That is so weird. Oh. Okay. So close. You know how frustrating this is? Like when you're so close and you can see it, and then you can't get there. Okay. We're gonna try maybe this. Nope, that took me to the same thing. Okay, that is on. So maybe, Sarah, maybe you have to request to join on your end. Maybe that's what it's... But you didn't show up, Sarah. That's crazy. Okay, so I know I'm in the right place, somewhat. Technology. You know what we're gonna do? Sarah, call my house phone, and we're just gonna do this with you on the phone, on speakerphone. That's how we're gonna get this rolling. Cello. Cello.
Hello.
Okay. Fun times.
This is strange.
This is so strange.
Talking at the computer as if you could hear
All right, guys, I'm sorry that you can't see Sarah. But this is her on the phone. Good times. We're gonna rock and roll.
We're gonna have to figure this out.
We are. It's not gonna happen right now, but it's gonna happen one day. So this is Sarah. Say hi, Sarah.
Hello, I am Sarah.
Oh, the ghetto. No, the ingenuity of like, we're gonna make this roll. This is teaching in real life of you figure out a way to make it work. So
That's right. You just roll with it. Keep it rolling.
That's right. This is a visual podcast. That's what's happening. That's what we're gonna go with. It's a visual podcast. Yes. Okay. So let's go with, how did we meet, Sarah?
How did we meet? We met on a fateful day back in 2014, August something or other.
Yes.
When we began our first day working together at a independent school in the Baltimore, Maryland region.
Yes.
And I think you were wearing some really cool earrings. I don't remember. I think I commented on your earrings. But, yeah. I was teaching middle school science. You were teaching middle school social studies. And, yeah, life continued from there. And I can't forget Nadia, too.
Yes, Nadia. We were a trio. The Three Musketeers.
A trio.
So Sarah and I, Sarah was in the DC area. I moved up from Atlanta. And when I first started teaching in independent schools, Sarah was one of the first people that I met. And we talked together for 3 years. And when the very first person that I ever presented with was Sarah. Both times. When we did the professional development in-house, and then when we did the white privilege conference, Sarah's been there. At the beginning of all of this, Sarah has been there cheerleading and advocating and ride and dieting with me. Sarah was also in my wedding. So Sarah's been there. Sarah's been doing the work with me. Will you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yeah, we've done a lot together, Stephanie. My kind of like brief biography, I grew up in the great northern state of Maine and moved to the mid-Atlantic area for college. And actually that was I was thinking about this, kind of like when was my like racial social justice awakening, and I think it kind of started in college. I went to a predominantly white Southern institution, founded by one of the white founding fathers of this country, and had a really great experience there, and has since had like an interesting the school itself has had an interesting like racial awakening, I think, as well. So went to schools there, moved abroad for 2 years, taught in Eastern Europe and Bulgaria, which is an interesting place to live and an amazing place to live. And I think my kind of understanding of race and class and racism and classism and how that kind of works its way into society just kind of continued in that experience living in Eastern Europe. There's a lot of there can be a lot of like xenophobia, and there were some white supremacist political groups that were active, and like that was new to me to see just kind of it out in the open. Since you can't see me, and maybe people don't know, maybe they do know, but I am a white woman. And so, growing up in Maine, I never really kind of understood race and as an experience that was defining for so many people in this country. I love everything science. I studied biology and have been a biology teacher, an environmental science teacher, and which sounds kind of strange, I think, in this context of us talking about racial and social justice, but I think it is very much connected, in many ways, and we can get into that too. But I have a passion for the outdoors. I love camping, doing all the things that Stephanie secretly loves and would love to do with me.
No, she does not.
Been in Baltimore for, I guess, just going on 7 years, which is a long time in my short life. That's kind of a little bit about some of my recent years.
So one of the things that I really have appreciated about our time together is, and I mention it when I talk about allyship, and I often reference you as my ally, right? Like, I know a lot of different white people, but I feel like you are my only ally. I know a lot of people who want to be my ally. And I talked a couple of videos ago about the difference between an ally and accomplice. And so I will actually correct myself and say you are my accomplice, right? And at the beginning of the video, I talked about you being there in the beginning. And one of the things that sticks out for me is you do a really great job of listening in our conversations of when I am talking and when I'm frustrated about working in an independent school. It is incredibly frustrating to be one of, as a faculty member, and advocating for students who are one of, right? And then as the adult, seeing the things and connecting the dots and having to carry the burden a lot. And it's really interesting. We've talked about your own journey, and I've never heard you really say that you had like an aha moment per se. It's just, I've never really heard you say you had an aha moment. I think it's more of like conversations and reading and just like a steady realization. And I really want to say that I've appreciated that one of the things that you do that I wish more white people would do is shut up and listen and don't push back when being told things that are uncomfortable. And when you want to know more, the way that you ask questions, like they're earnest questions, they're not challenging questions of like, well, that hasn't been my experience. Are you sure that's what happened to you? It's a very earnest wanting to know that builds a bond. And I think that that's why our friendship has grown a lot. And why I can count you as an accomplice, and the fact that you're willing to get in and do the work with me. And when I am beyond tired, and even before I get tired, you recognize those signs and you pick up and you take on the rallying charge while also checking in with me to make sure like, hey, am I going the right way? Because I don't want to do some foolish stuff. So, check me if I'm going wrong. All right, this is the right way? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Did I lose you?
Sorry, I think I'm here.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a delay, and I'm paying attention to the video feed when I should probably just be listening to you in a conversation. So, no, I really appreciate that, and I agree. I think more white people should just shut up and listen. Like, we've been doing a lot of talking, and like clearly things haven't, gotten any better in a very long time. But to me though, I know listening doesn't come easy to all people, and for me, it's a trait I value in friendships, and I think that it's a quality that I've had for a long time. But I think, yeah, I think, I mean, I value it in my friendships, and so that's how I, like, return that, I think, like, that friendship and that love, and, you know, and kind of, you know, even connecting, I was thinking, too, to kind of my kind of quote-unquote, like, scientist hat, like, listening and asking questions is kind of a part of that, and, you know, and I was reflecting on even my own stances on, you know, connecting science and social justice and environmental justice, like, I'll say, like, big S science, right, like, is sometimes held to this standard of, like, expertise and, like, a specific way of understanding and gathering data about the world. And I think, you know, my evolution in kind of understanding about social justice and race and its impact on people's experiences, I think there needs to be more of, like, the softer sciences, or, like, social sciences of, you know, even anthropology or collecting stories. Like, all of those ways of knowing about the world are so important and are so valuable. And I think a tendency of particularly white people is to kind of datafy or quantify things into numbers. And I think it harms us. It harms us in our relationships. It harms us in our, like, just what you said, like, in the responses, you know, well, are you sure that's the experience that you've had? Like, I've never seen that person say something, you know, that could be offensive, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not my experience. Well, you know, kind of a gift of storytelling is there can be many experiences in one particular event. And I think that, you know, incorporating those many ways of knowing and experiencing can make our world just a better place in general. But that's also how I approach even teaching science to my kids. Like, who gets to be an expert? Like, there's many ways of understanding and knowing, and kind of finding validation, and all of those, I think, makes for a richer story.
Yeah. And then I was going to say on the flip side, so I'm glad that you said that, that you are also a really, really great educator, right? Because we're coming from two different backgrounds of, like, I bring the humanities, you bring the STEM, and there's been so much that you have taught me and opened up my mind in, like, that I've had to be quiet and learn to listen, and that you've expanded some things for me as well, and I've had to show up for you and things. And so I really am grateful for our relationship and our interactions, and how our friendship has grown into this business. That makes me very, very, very happy. And I am excited for all the iterations of what this will look like. I'm sorry, my nose is running. But I wanted to touch more on how the integration, what you said about of the sciences and the social sciences and the humanities, and what that all looks like in terms of that there's many ways to tell a story, right? Like, I think oftentimes people think that it's all separate when it's all, like, different pages of the same book. And I wondered if you could speak a little bit more to that.
I like that, like, different pages of the same book. I think it's hard, especially for people who, you know, are used to having, like, clear-cut answers, or, like, this is just how you're supposed to do, like, this is just the way that things are, like, you know, like, the force of gravity exists, and, like, that's just, like, that's, like, a lot, like, that just exists. You can't really, you know, interpret that in many ways. And I think it takes practice able to hear information, say if you're sharing with me, if we were together and like you were sharing with me like something that happened, but like maybe I didn't observe it or I didn't experience it, right? Like I'm going to have to hold that story. I'm going to have to hold your experience at the same time that I hold mine. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think it can be challenging, but it takes practice, and I think you can actually strengthen that muscle, and it makes you a better person for it. I think at like the heart of all of this is relationships and is friendship and is love and empathy and recognizing people in all of their richness and like possibility. And I think like taking putting it back in kind of a classroom setting, right? If it's even like a content setting, if I'm teaching about climate change, understanding that and even relaying it to my students that there can be, Native American tribes or indigenous tribes around the world that experience the effects of climate change, maybe either through changes in migratory patterns that are different from, historical, like stories and, patterns that have been passed down through, say, oral tradition, right? Those are lived experiences that they have to adapt and change their own behaviors. If, that can be parallel, and that can also match with, say, my carbon emissions data that is supporting, rising temperatures in the atmosphere. Like, they fit together. They're not in contrast. And I think pulling all of those things together, gives for a better understanding of the world, and also gives for, people better tools to be able to, say, come up with solutions or better policies to address climate change in this example. To make sure that all people are at the table when it comes to discussing, the impacts and what they, like the community or the type of society that they want to have and want to build in the future, right? Like it's all, I think, making sure that we have all of those diverse either stories, whether it's coming from traditional ecological knowledge of a particular region or place, or if it's coming from data that's collected by a satellite and orbiting around Earth, right? Like both of them, I think, hold equal weight. Yeah.
So I want to highlight two things that you said that really stuck out to me. It was that at the center of this is relationship and holding multiple truths to do what's right for all peoples, right? Those were really powerful sentiments. And so I'm sorry that you all couldn't actually see Sarah. We're going to work this out. I'm going to get better at this technology thing. It's okay. It's okay.
We'll figure it out.
But we may do. And this is Classroom 101. You do what you got to do to get to where you need to be. But you yes. You hear her lovely voice, though. It's very, very lovely. So you all heard Sarah. So the weekly updates will be between Sarah and I will be doing them. So you may see me, you may see her. You will see her at some point, I promise.
I promise too.
But I wanted to make sure that you heard her voice. I wanted you to see her too, but you heard her voice and you got a formal introduction to Sarah. Other updates and things that are coming along. I will be presenting at the National Council of Social Studies conference that's coming up in November. I also found out this past weekend that I had 2 proposals accepted for the People of Color Conference. So that's coming up in December. Woo woo. Yeah. So those are 3 conferences that are coming up. The course is still in the works. It is, of course, going to be delayed because I am clearly at home and I'm not going to have as much time as I had wanted to work on it. I will let you know the new date that it's coming out and keep you up to date on those things as they come out. I appreciate your patience. I'm learning how not to apologize for things. We as women sometimes apologize too much. So that's the thing that I'm working on, is not apologizing. Instead, saying thank you for your patience. Because my family is my priority. So thank you for your patience. If you are looking for help with anti-bias work, anti-racist work with your school or your educational organization, Sarah and I are here. We got you covered with humanities, with STEM. Please hit us up, antibiaseducator.com. You can also hit us on social media at the Anti-Bias Educator. We are happy to help. We are around. We have a couple of contracts in the work right now. We are always happy to take on new clients and help to spread the anti-bias message. Sarah, any closing thoughts you want to add in there, my love?
No, just that I'm super excited for your proposals and your accepted proposals, I should say, and your upcoming conferences. And yeah, I am thrilled to be here with you and, as your accomplice and doing this work together.
Pew, pew, pow, pow.
Woo-woo.
She encourages my random noises. All right, y'all. Have a great week. I hope virtual learning has been kind to you. For my educator friends, we will see you next Monday. One of us will be here, maybe both of us. Hopefully, if it's both of us together on the same screen. We make no promises. One of us will be here next week. Until then, have a great week. Be well, be your best selves, go be great. Okay.